Hey everybody, and welcome back to Crochet Impossible. In this video, we will be working on the Irish-Afghan project. Just a heads up, this is a right-handed tutorial in this video. If you guys are left-handed, please click on the link that will kind of show up here or in the description below, and you can find the project for left-handed people there. This project is a free project. You can find it on Ravelry, or you can find it on Yarnspiration's own website. It is a really beautiful project, and these are the things that you'll need to work on this project. Number one, you will need a 6mm crochet hook. As always, I will be using a 6.5 in the tutorial. Number two, you need a lot of yarn, over 3,000 yards of this type of yarn. They suggest Aran. I think I used a worsted, but it works either way. I am going to be using the Lion brand ice cream scoop cookies and cream, and it's a great kind of ombre gray to white type of yarn. I would suggest though, if you guys are planning to do this, it will make your life a lot easier if you use a monocolor type of yarn. The reason why is because it's easier to hide tails and end bits compared to something that kind of changes constantly. But it works for me for this one here, so it'll work for you too if you guys want to use something a little bit more fun. Lastly, you will need a darning needle and a pair of scissors. And that's pretty much it for all the materials that you need. Let's jump into this tutorial so we at least finish the first parts of this project in this part one of a two-part series. Hello everyone, and welcome to the tutorial. As always, if you guys need to know, I am using a 6.5mm crochet hook. I like this a lot. Those of you who have been following my videos know that I have kind of really gotten used to this size of hook for a lot of the things that require a 5.5 or a 6 or 6.5. I just like the feel of it. Metal hooks are great, amazing. But anyways, let's start off with these things. So essentially you're making a bunch of granny squares. That's really what it is. It's just overly simplified granny squares. And you're going to be kind of connecting them together into long chains. If you read through the actual instructions of the PDF, you'll notice that for the first granny square, you're to make 7 of them separately. The reason why is because you need 7 rows of these kind of connected granny squares. So you're going to start off with 1, and then you're going to connect the next 14 to have a long string of 15 of them, and you're supposed to make 7 of these. So we're going to start off with the first granny square, and then after I show you how to make the first granny square, I will show you how to connect them together so you can get on with your strings of granny squares. So firstly, you will need to make a slip knot. For this, I like actually making a very small tail because you're going to have to hide this. And I myself really dislike sewing of any sort, and hiding the tails of stuff is probably one of the banes of my existence when it comes to crocheting. So I like having a very small tail here, and you'll be able to hide this much more easily than a long tail. Once you have your slip knot, you are going to chain 6, 5. That is your 6. After that, you go back to your first chain and you do a slip stitch here to make a little circle of 6 chains. That is your first step. The next step, you are going to be doing a bunch of double crochet togethers. So they're very simple to make, and after doing a bunch of these granny squares, it'll be very simple, but I will show you the ones that they ask you to do right now. Firstly, they ask you to chain 2, and this will act as your third double crochet, and you'll see what I mean when we finish this. So chain 2, then you will yarn over, go through your loop and grab the yarn. So you should have 3 on your hook. Yarn over, grab through just 2. Once you're done that, you will yarn over again, through the loop, grab your yarn. You should have 4 on your hook. Yarn over, grab through just 2. Yarn over, grab through 3. This is your first 2 double crochet together, and with that chain 2, that forms 3 there. When you're done this, you will chain 3. 1, 2, come on, 2, 3, and you're now going to be doing 3 double crochet togethers. So yarn over, through the loop, grab the yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, through the loop, grab the yarn over, pull through 2. One more time. Yarn over, through the loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And you can see for this one here, you actually have 4 loops left over. Grab the yarn again and pull through all 4. And this here is your 3 double crochet together. And that is what you're going to be doing for the rest of it. So your 2 double crochet together was your first one. You will have to make 7 of these in total. So let's do one more together. 1, 2, 3, chain 3. After that, you will do your 3 double crochet together. So yarn over, through the loop, grab the yarn, pull through 2. Yarn over, through the loop, grab the yarn over, pull through 2. One more time, yarn over, through the loop, grab the yarn, pull through 2. You're left with 4 in your hook. Yarn over, pull through all 4 of the loops. And that is 2 of your 7. Once you are done all of this, I will show you the end. I'm going to continue on finishing the rest of my 3 double crochet togethers, and I will meet you at the end of this round. And welcome back. You will notice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those are 7 3 double crochets together with chain 3s in between. And then this one here is your chain 2, 2 double crochet together. This is where you're going to connect everything together. Chain 3, and then you will look for your 2 chains here, and then you will slip stitch in the top of your second chain to connect everything together. And if you're like me, I have a big problem with very, very tight chains and stuff, but prevail, you will do well. So that is the round there. We will move on to the next round. So for this next round here, firstly, you are going to do a bunch of slip stitches so that you can move where your yarn is all the way to this chain 3 space. What they ask you to do is to go to the top of each of your double crochets and slip stitch. So that means that there's 2, like that. And once you get into the chain 3 space, this is how I interpret it. So you have 2 slip stitches going through the 2 double crochets here. I do 1 more, so I get into the chain 3 space. They don't have any diagrams, so unfortunately we don't know if we need that extra slip stitch, but I do an extra one. Once you're here, you will chain 1 and then single crochet into the same chain 3 space that you just got to. When you're done that, you will chain 5, and then go to the next chain 3 and single crochet here, forming a kind of like wider little bump here. Chain 5, oops, and then single crochet in the next one. And essentially that's what you do all the way around for these chain 3 spaces until you get to the very end here where you started your slip stitches into your double crochets. Once you get there, I will show you how to join all of these chain 5s together. And we're back to the end here. Sorry you guys, there is a truck just parked right outside my condo, and I've been waiting over an hour for them to leave, and they're not leaving, and I really only have today to finish this portion of the video. So if you don't mind, I'll try to speak a little bit louder, a little bit more enunciated, and hopefully the truck will go away soon. We are at the point where we're connecting the rounds of chain 5s together, and at this end part here, you are first to chain 2. Once you're done that, you will go back and look for your chain 1 single crochet. This is at the bottom of your first chain 5. Once you find it, you will double crochet into that chain 1 space instead of doing a chain 5. And that becomes your last chain 5, and this is what you have. And that is that round finished. So let's move on to the last round and we'll finish this little granny square. Hallelujah, the truck has left. And let's finish off the last round. So this last round here, you will need to use your double crochet togethers again. And that's great about these types of patterns where they teach you something new and they make you do it again and again and again until you memorize it. Let's start off with a chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then for this upcoming chain 5 from before, you are going to 3 double crochet together into this chain 5 space. Alright, Once you're done that, you will chain 3, and then you will 3 double crochet together again into the same space. Alright, and when you're done, you have this. So this is kind of like your little corner bit. You will then chain 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the next space here, you will single crochet. After that, you will chain 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here, you will 3 double crochet together. Chain 3, and then 3 double crochet together one more time in the same chain 5 space. Like so. And if you remember your pattern, then you are to chain 5 again. It's 2, 3, 4. Chain 5, single crochet, chain 5 again, and do your 3 double crochet together, chain 3, 3 double crochet together here. Alrighty, you have 3 of these. Chain 5, single crochet in here, chain 5, and then 3 double crochet, chain 3, 3 double crochet in here. Alright, you're almost done. Last chain 5. And this time, instead of single crocheting, you are going to join with a slip stitch to the beginning of your original first chain 5 of this row. Like that, so. I personally like doing an extra slip stitch, like that, just to make it feel more sturdy. Once you're done that, leave a, I don't know, 3 to 4 inch length type of tail here. Fasten off, and that is your granny square. You will need to hide these, so my suggestion is once you're done one, just sew them in and make them disappear. Like, they're kind of annoying. Unfortunately, even while you're done, and if you've read ahead to the pattern itself, the extra bits of edging here will not hide these tails. So do yourself a favor, just finish this and immediately start working on getting rid of that tail. But that, my friends, is your granny square, your first one here. We are now going to move on and learn how to connect them together. Welcome back to panels 2 through 15. If you read the instructions, the first couple of rows are exactly the same. This is the row where we do the chain 5s and the 2, 3 double crochet together, chain 3 space. This is where we're going to be working on connecting them together. So you will start off with a chain 5, as always. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And once you get to this chain 5 space, remember, you are to double crochet together the 3 of them. So 1, 2, and 3. Once you've done that, normally you would chain 3. You're going to chain 1, and then you will need this square here. You're going to look for a corner where you have the 3 double crochets together. You're going to go to that chain 3, and you are going to insert your hook into the middle chain, the second chain here, and you are going to slip stitch this and join the 2 squares together. That is your second chain of your chain 3. After that, you will chain 1 again, and then you will 3 double crochet together in the same space as your previous 3 double crochet together. And that is your first connection with your other panel. We're going to move on. We have a bunch of other connections that we need to make before we can finish off actually connecting them all together properly. We're going to move on. This is your chain 5, but you're not going to chain 5. You're going to chain 2. And then you're going to go to your finished panel here, and you go to the next space. You're going to look at their chain 5 space here, and you're going to look 1, 2, 3 here. You're going to insert your hook into that space there, and yes, as you guessed it, you are going to connect them together by using a slip stitch, like so. Once you're done that, you will chain 2, and including the connected chain, that is 5, go back to your unfinished panel. You are going to go to the next chain 5 space and single crochet in that next chain 5 space. We're going to chain 2 again. We're going to look at the finished panel's next chain 5. 1, 2, 3, right into the middle. We're going to put our hook, and we are going to connect these together. Chain 2, and here we are not going to be single crocheting. We are going to be 3 double crocheting together into this next space. After that, if you guys remember, we will chain 1, and then we are going to go to this finished panel's chain 3, 1, 2, middle chain. We are going to connect these together. After that, you're going to chain 1, and then you will 3 double crochet together one last time. And that is how you connect the 2 panels together, like so. Once you've done this, obviously you will go all the way around. Let me grab one that I've been working on so you can kind of see what's going on. So here are 4 that I have done, and as you can see, you have that connection right there, and then a connection right there, and that's what it looks like. There you go. That's how it looks. And you're going to be doing that for a very long time. You're going to be doing 15 of these in total for one whole strand, and you will need to make 7 of these in total. So you'll actually be working on connecting these together for a very long time. So if this looks really confusing, don't worry. You have to do this 14 times every single round, and then 6 more times, so then you have 7 of these long chains of panels together. That, my friends, is the first panel, and then panels 2 through 15. You guys will need to make a lot of this. My suggestion is making all of this first before you move on, but we are going to move on. We are going to move on to working on the edging for both this side and this side of our panels. And welcome back, everyone. We are now at the panel edging. So you have done hopefully at least one of these long chains of 15 of these little panels, and you've connected them together, and now we can work on this here. So there are just 5 rows for the panel edging, and it's actually not difficult to do any of the steps in this portion of the video. It's just a little bit tedious because there's a lot of it, and you have to go through like all the way back and forth. And also just a reminder, once you're finished the panel edging for one side, you're supposed to do it on the other side. We will go through all 5 of the rows first, and then at the end of it, I'll show you a completed double panel edging one that I've finished before. But let's start quickly. So firstly, we are to find the chain 3 section here, and we are to slip stitch at the end here, right before the chain 3. So it doesn't really matter. Leave a long tail if you want. You're going to have to sew this in later and hide it. But let's start. So we're going to go into the first of the 3 chains here, and we're going to slip stitch into this here. I just like to pull it tight. It'll get loose later on, and unfortunately that's just one of the things. I hold on to the tail with my other fingers, at least for the very beginning, until I get most of my other things in, and then it'll be fine. So once you're done this, you are going to chain 3. So chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. After that, you are to 2 double crochet in this space here. So, oops. That's 1 double crochet and 2 double crochet. So essentially that chain 3 at the very beginning is your 3rd double crochet in this area here. Once you are done that, you are going to 5 double crochet here in the chain 5 space. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. As you notice, as you're doing your 5 double crochet, they kind of get like bunched up here. My suggestion is just to pull them close to the next part here, so then you don't have like those little like really wide gaps when it comes to chaining. So these are your 5 double crochet. We are doing another 5 in the next chain 5. That's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Pull them closer if you can. Once you're done this here is that special area where you connected your chain 1, slip stitch chain 1. What you're supposed to do here is in the first space here. So this here is the chain 1, this here is your slip stitch, and this here is your chain 1 again. You're going to put 2 double crochets here. So 1 and 2. You're then going to go to here, and you're going to put a single double crochet here. So this is where you slip stitch to connect them together. And then here you are to put another 2. So essentially, when you're done this, you have 5 in the chain 5, 5 in the other chain 5, and then 2 plus 1 plus 2, another 5. So essentially what you're doing. Let's do this one more time. Like I said, this is not difficult. It's just a little bit tedious. Once you're done the 2 plus 1 plus 2, you move on to your next chain 5 space. So here you are to add your 5 double crochets. So that's 5 right there. Pull them over. Another chain 5 space. We are to add another 5 double crochets here. Awesome. Pulling it over. Here we have that same place again. That chain 1, the chain 1, slip stitch chain 1. So you're putting 2 here first. After that, you are to put 1 here, and then lastly 2 there. So that's what we have right now. Just lots of nice double crochets across. You have to go to the very end, and once you get to the very end, just remember, once you get here, after your 5, you're to finish with 3 here, just so that you balance from the beginning. When you do that chain 3 and 2 double crochet here, you're going to balance that with the 3 double crochet here at the end. That is row 1. So finish off your double crochets. I will meet you for row 2. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you guys had fun doing all those double crochets. Just a reminder, you should have 3 at the end here. Beginning of row 2, we are going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Once you've done that, you're to find the space between your double crochet. So in this case here, you have 3 here and 5 here, and this is your space. And you are to single crochet here into the space. Now, not into the stitch itself, into the actual space itself. The reason why is because once you get here, every single time you use the space here, you're actually using up one of the stitches, and that's not what they want. So, chain 3, single crochet in the space here, then we are going to chain 5 to skip over the next 5, and you're to single crochet in this space right there. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, come on, 5, into the next thing here. And this is where you have to be really careful. So if you remember from the last row that you're working on, we had a chain, we had a 2 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet. We are going to treat them as a group of 5. So here, instead of doing like random small bits of chains, you're to do 1 large chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then single crochet here in this space right there. So if you were to look clearly, you have a chain 3 little space at the very beginning here, a chain 5, a chain 5, and a chain 5, like that. Once you've done that, you are to go through the rest of it, continuing on to your chain 5s until you get to the very end, in which case you do a chain 3 and then you slip stitch to the end there. So for this one, I'll actually jump ahead to the end. So I'll finish this off and then I'll show you kind of what I mean for the end of the row, just so that people are not confused. So I will meet you guys at the end of this row, and then we can continue on with this project. And welcome back. I am finished all of my chain 5s. We are at the very end of row 2. So at the very end of row 2, you are to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And remember in row 1, you did 2 double crochets, but then a chain 3 here at the very beginning. You're to find the top of the chain 3, which in my case is right here. And you are to single crochet here to finish off row 2. And there you have it. That is the end of row 2. Let's move on to row 3. And we continue on with row 3. For those of you who like to read ahead of time, you guys know what's going on. It is essentially the same thing as row 1. Chain 3. And then you are to double crochet in here. 2 double crochet, sorry. Into the chain 3 space. That's 1. And that's 2. After that, you are to, as you guessed it, 5 double crochet in the chain 5 space. Now if my hook will only grab the yarn so I can show this to you. There's 5, and then another 5, and as you probably guessed it, because you chain 5 all the way across, you will put 5 in each of those chain 5s, and then afterwards, at the very end where you had a chain 3, you will only put in 3 double crochets. So I don't really think I need to show you this step because this is pretty simple. Why don't I let you guys go to finish this, and we can move on to row 4. Onwards to row 4. We start off with a very familiar chain 3. 1, 2, 3. The next thing they ask you to do is to skip 2. Now, this here is not considered 1 here. You're supposed to skip these 2. If you actually read to the very end of this row, they ask you, once you get to the last 4, you're supposed to do something there. So meaning 1, this is your chain 3, you skip these 2 and then you go to this one here. And when you get to this one here, you will 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet again in the same space. And what that creates is like a nice kind of V here. When you're done that one, you will continue on and you will skip 3. So 1, 2, 3. This is your 4th here. You will do exactly the same thing. You will 1 double crochet, chain 2, and then 1 double crochet again in the same space. There you go. You have 2 kind of V stitches. Let's do one more. Skip 3, 1, 2, 3, skip those 3. Go to your 4th one here. You are going to double crochet, chain 2, oops, and then double crochet again. So what you should have is kind of like this here. You should have a couple of like kind of V stitches here, here, and here. You're to go through to the very, very, very end, and I will meet you at the very end when we go to our last 4 stitches, and then I will kind of go through it with you because the pattern is a little bit confusing, as always. Anyways, I'm going to finish this off. I'll meet you at the end of this row. Hello, hello. We are at the very, very end here. These are your last 4 stitches. So as you can see, I didn't actually go right to my last 4 stitches. The reason why is because the instructions are kind of weird, but essentially here you're supposed to put in a V stitch, and that is your 4th stitch of the 4 that they wanted you to kind of like, you know, not use. So that's where it gets a little bit confusing. They should have just said 3 instead of the 4, because then it makes you feel like, oh, you should have 4 after you're done your last V stitch, but it's not. So once you get to your last 4, the 4th one here should be your V stitch. Once you're done that, you're supposed to skip these 2, and then you're supposed to double crochet in the chain 3 that you did from your previous row, and that is how you finish this row here. So like I said, don't be confused with what's going on here. This last V should be in the 4th stitch. This is 3, this is 2, and then the chain 3 is where you put your double crochet. And that is row 4 finished. Let's finish off this last row, row 5. Lastly, row 5. This is a very, 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 very simple row. All you have to do is, first of all, chain 2, and then what you do is you half double crochet all the way across. So half double crochet, and what you do is instead of pulling through 2 normally like a double crochet, you pull through all 3 like that. So 2 half double crochets here in the chain 2 space of your V stitch, and then half double crochet in the double crochet here, half double crochet in the 2nd double crochet there. Don't forget the 2nd one. After that, 2 half double crochets in the V stitch area, 1 half double crochet in this double crochet, 1 double crochet or half double crochet in this double crochet. And that's essentially what you're doing here. And all you have to do is go to the very end and you're done the edging. Let me see. I will grab a finished product for you so you can see what it looks like when you finish both sides. Here we are. This is both of the panel edges finished. So this is your panels and this is your one edge and your second edge. So as you can see, compared to the original here, it's pretty much double the width. That's essentially what you're going to need to do for all 7 of them. So finish up what we just did and start finishing up all these things. You need to finish all 7 of these, and then in part 2, we will get to come back together and we'll learn how to put them together, sew them together, and then do the final kind of like tassels and the edging here. So thank you guys for watching. Tune in, please, for part 2. It should be linked somewhere here or at the end of this video. See you guys later.